Shalom,
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 shalom, shalom.
shalom. Our praises to
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushua,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem, Rakach.
Double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this 100% truth. Sanitation to all the sincere Akim out there, man. Yeah. So introduce yourself.
It's the brother Ra'azar Raha Halawaya.
Arya.
My name is Brother Ahab.
Yeah, man. So we're going to open up and we're going to talk about prophecies that are yet to come to pass, guiding the spirit. And, you know, there are prophecies yet to come to pass, but for the most part, a lot of them are being unraveled now as we speak, man. Start with the precept, Baba Kushan.
Yeah, this is Revelation 3 and verse 11. If I'll start from verse 10, it says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah.
Behold, I come quickly."
So that's one of the prophecies that are yet to come to pass. We're going to touch on a couple of them, but that's the hour of temptation, right? Which we know that's going to be made mandatory. The MOTB, that's going to be when that's made mandatory. That's going to be the hour of temptation.
Yeah. So it says in verse 11, "Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown."
Yeah, and we don't want no one to take our crown. There's things happening. We're going to talk about some of them, right? The challenges that we come up against, we've been through, we've overcome, and the ones that we yet to overcome. That it's really Satan's behind it, trying to take us out, take away our crown.
Yep. It says in verse 12, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of the Most High, in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of the Most High and the name of the city of the Most High, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name."
Overcoming is the major prophecy, right? And we only going to do that with the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And that's one of the major prophecies is Yahushua's return. We're all looking forward to that. You understand? There's others yet to come to pass, but we're all looking for the major prophecy, because that's when Yahushua's name will be fully permeated, I'll say that word, throughout the earth, and he gets his lick back, his respect. Anybody got anything they want to say?
Yeah, even on that point in Revelation 3 and 12, where it says, "And I will write upon him my new name," that new just represents refreshed. You know, we're obviously going to know the names prior, or else how else are we going to get that salvation? We've got to know the names first, which are taught to us via our apostles and elders. And of course, that new name just simply means refreshed. We can even get into it, yeah.
That's kainos, isn't it?
Yeah, let me check.
When the earth gets refreshed, yeah, check. Yeah, because we're looking forward to Abba Ra'azar, right? We overcome the little things, because the little things lead to big things. Why you got it?
All right. So the root word for new is kainos, and it says in the outline of biblical usage, new says as respects form, recently made, fresh, recent, unused, unworn. It says that as respects to substance of a new kind, unprecedented, novel, uncommon, unheard of. But the point is, it says recently made. You know, it also says fresh. Yes. So really, again, when something's made fresh, it means that it's renewed again. You know, it's been made already, but you make it new again. That's really talk about the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, especially in respects to the fact that all Israel, after, of course, the purging out, you know, the 2/3 and the wicked Israelites across the world as well. You know, the 2/3 are in America, so they already got their own portion of missiles that's dedicated to them in that time. But the point is, after that, when Yahushua comes, the kingdom is established through the loins of the elect, those spirits will be reborn again, but in righteousness.
Yeah, because that's the major prophecy. You're going to come and going to make everything new.
Yeah.
Kainos, refresh the whole earth, man.
That's beautiful.
And that's the major prophecy. But yeah, we're going to get into some of them
Can I say something?
the build-ups to it. Yeah.
You said something so beautiful when you just opened up, Arya, right? Because this is a spiritual war, all right? It's spirit against the carnal. Yeah. As it says in Luke 22, verse 31, "And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired you to have you, that ye may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. It's all about the faith.
Yep.
Because we mentioned, remember, brother, you mentioned earlier, it's about the faith. So that's in the spirit.
Yeah,
but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. All right? So we're in that time now, beloved brothers. And you sisters too. You sisters fighting too, you know. Because remember, you got the elect of the lady.
Yeah,
elect lady.
the elect ladies. Yeah.
Elect ladies, right? So you're also fighting through this spiritual battle. Yeah? So this is the time that we're in. As you mentioned, Brother Aria, in the beginning, yeah? The things that we have to go through, yeah? It's a spiritual battle. All right?
Yeah.
Like you hear, see the siren going through? That is showing you signs. Yeah. This is the battle that we have to. This is the condition of the battle. That's it, brother.
And bring out what's going to help us. We're going to touch on some of the things that are going to help us in this
Yeah.
spiritual battle. Because prayer. You mentioned prayer, man.
Yeah.
You know, Simon Peter. Right,
Yes.
we'll get into it. It's always, you know, which was David, if you can receive it. Satan was always trying to sift
All the time.
all of the prophets.
Yes.
Right, via temptations, and we opened up with that one, Revelation 3 and 10, via temptations. As a matter of fact, we're going to go back to that. We've got a precept we want to bring out on that in Revelation 3, but
I've got the Proverbs one you asked for.
Yeah.
Still got Revelation if you want.
yeah, bring that out and we go back to that.
Okay, bro. Proverbs 29,
Helps the point.
18. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
Right.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Right, see, it's vision, which we're concentrating on that word vision, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shai, which keeps you focused, man. And I like the point when you brought out about Peter, man. Yeah? You know, Satan desires to sift all the prophets.
Yeah.
Right? Peter is just an example, but that's why we pray for each other. Brothers are always stressing about that praying, man.
Yeah.
Pray for yourself before you leave out the yard.
Yes.
You're hearing about the judgments. Maybe if the Spirit wants us to bring up some of them judgments, what brother will be putting up on the chat. Judgments are being dished out. Recently a word came to me. The Most High is up in the ante. Let me say it like that. So we need the vision,
Yeah, we need
right?
the vision.
Which means that if you saw,
Yeah.
I use an example of the horse, right? Got the horse when he's doing his, horse races and horses, the ones that be running, they put blinkers on, innit?
Right.
The reason why they put blinkers on is so that they don't get distracted, and by the audience, they're easily distracted, so that they can continue in that race without distraction. So to stay in the vision. So we also need that those spiritual blinkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what a vision does, man. You always remember, whenever you're reminded of that vision or you meditate upon it, you're focused on the mission. Because whenever any other type of distraction may try and come your way, to try and shift you from the main course, you always remember, okay, I've got to focus on the prophecies, we've got to focus on serving Yahweh Shai, and of course to align ourselves with the scriptures, man. And that will always deter any other distraction.
Right.
So that's really the point.
Yeah. Bring out. Go to 18. Where did we start with? Revelation chapters 10.
3 and 10. I just finished verse 12.
So I think I want 18. Yeah, I want to get 18, brother.
So this is Revelation 3 and verse 18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve.
Here you go. Yep. That's the point. Yeah.
That thou mayest see.
Yeah. That's why we want the eye solve, the vision,
Right.
which helps the point. The vision, your eyes. You use them things. That click. That there's something oil. There's actually an oil salve that you can get, an eye salve that you can get in as far as in the pharmacies and all of that. But we're talking about the spiritual eye salve, which is going to protect us from distractions, as you say, to keep us on that main goal, which is the prophecies. And Abu Ratazar, we all live to see Yahweh Shai's return, man. The ultimate prophecy is when he comes with healing in his wings.
Yeah.
We all desire that. But first, let's get into some of these prophecies. Like, as far as let me read this one. As a matter of fact, you read.
Let me get it here.
1 Corinthians 3 and 9.
1 Corinthians 3 and 9,
What else is getting that? I went to the root word of Isalve, and it says here, kolorian, in the Greek, and the meaning is, it says a preparation composed of various materials and used as a remedy for tender eyelids. Man. When people complain about dry eyes and certain eye conditions, which really most of it are related to dry eyes. Eye salve would be that component or a group of materials, a group of chemicals used to soothe the eye, which they're actually natural medicines of the earth that you can use to keep that keep the eye moist.
Yeah, I think it's the purified water, but I think it's called in the pharmacies, because when I used to do all that, that working on the site, and you can get anything could splash up and spring in your eye, or any kind of sawdust spring in your eye. They got an actual it's called purified. It's just purified water. Distilled water.
Yes,
which is object. That's what they call it. Which is distilled water.
Okay.
Purified water and distilled water is a high, just very very pure water.
That's it.
And I've seen people. I've actually tended to people. When they come in, they go, and they get it, put it on that little container, put it over to clean up any debris or whatever the case may be. But that's what we're talking about, man. And all the prophets have that, right? And that's how they was able to continue in the Isalve. That is what enabled them to continue to see and have visions with the intervention of some of them who had visions, like Daniel, Elisha, John. We don't got to get it. John, the Revelator. But did you hold that precept?
Which one you want? Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter
3 and 9.
Yeah.
And it reads, "For we are laborers together with the Lord our power."
1 Corinthians, my bad. 1 Corinthians chapters 13 and 9.
Okay, 13 and 9. 1 Corinthians 13 and 9. Oops, and 9. Yes. And it reads, "The Lord our power is faithful, by whom were called unto the fellowship of his Son, Yahushua HaMashiach our Lord."
No, 1 Corinthians chapters 13. 1 Corinthians, you got one.
Oh no, Salakia, brother, Salakia.
It's all good, brother.
1 Corinthians.
Take your time.
1 Corinthians
Chapters 13 and verse 9.
Verse 9. Right, I got it here. Okay. Right. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 9. "For we know in part, and we prophesy in part."
Right, that's Apostle Paul, right? Right, he's talking to the Corinthians, right? Back then, right? They knew in part, right? It's going to go on to explain it in 10.
Right. "But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away."
Right. So we got when anybody's ever done jigsaw puzzle, you don't know the picture until it's finished.
Yes.
So who's going to put the finishing touches? Yahushua. He's going to put the finishing touches. But right now he's revealed to us, he's given us the vision for us to, that's why we're talking about his return, the MOTB, which is yet to be made mandatory. These are some of the prophecies that are here, right? Which they're going to pick up momentum, the Jacob's trouble. And I got an article, right? We're going to funnel everything through the precepts, but why can we say, for example, someone can hold it, Jeremiah chapter 13:7. Why can we say we're on the brink of Jacob's trouble, right? Let's look at this article. As a matter of fact, you can let's get into some of this, because Elder Yeshuambo was making a point about that, and I thought it was interesting.
Alright, so it says
Hold on, is that? I'll Google that. Or if you want to Google it on your phone, you might find it more easier, and I'll hold it. So while you're looking for that, this is migrants, in shackles led on to U.S. military plane as Mexico refuses to accept deportation. Right, and that's from the Sky News.
Right.
We're gonna get into some of this, man, because this is what we're talking about. While you're looking for that, there's a precept to back that one up. Jeremiah chapter 30. You know where we're going.
Jacob's trouble verse 7.
Yep.
Not yet, no.
Oh, Jordan.
Anybody.
Okay, I thought he was looking
Yeah.
for-
So
I want to ask
yeah,
as well, but-
it's just too easy, man. You understand? For us to talk about the prophecies that are yet to come to pass. Yes, there's going to be scoffers trying to sift, trying to distract us or deflect us, temptation.
Yeah.
But that's why we use the ISO, man. You know, you got it?
Yeah, so this is Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble,
Right.
but he shall be saved out of it.
Right. So that's why we're looking at that article. You got
And
it?
he,
This is a smack in the face for all the scoffers that say, what are you reading out of that Bible for? We ain't, you know what I mean? There's nothing.
yeah.
Well, we talk about prophecies? Nah. Well, we got the example of Jacob. Right. And you go and tell them, as a matter of fact, those that used to scoff, right? Where are the scoffers now? Brother was saying that. Where's all the Elder Apostle Ricard was saying? Where are all the scoffers now? We used to have a whole heap of scoffers coming on this
gone
comment
silent.
board. Why is that? Because a lot of them were once. You understand? A lot of them are actually getting shipped out, and I'll say that, you know, it's actually the scriptures back that up, man. It's getting. As a matter of fact, let's get into the article to back up the scripture. Read some of it.
right, this is from Sky News. It says migrants in shackles led on to the U.S. military plane as Mexico refuses.
Carry on. I'm going to show the picture.
Yep, as Mexico refuses to accept deportation flag. It says an official said it was the first time in recent memory that American military aircraft were being used to fly migrants out of the US. And this article was made Saturday 25th, January 2025. So of course it was early 2025. You know, so this was based upon the
this year. Yeah, carry on. Brothers can see. Yeah.
So it says US military aircraft have started flying detained migrants out of America on the orders of Donald Trump
Yep.
as Mexico refused.
Hold on a minute. Now,
Go on,
what was people saying about Donald Trump? Get him in. He's gonna make the golden era, innit?
Yeah.
He's gonna make America
America
great
great
again.
again.
Go on,
He's
that's
gonna the golden era. You know what I mean? The good old days when they had what was making America great again? When we in the 50s and 60s, when we was on the cotton fields, man.
You remember that song?
Yeah.
Happy days are here again.
Yeah. And don't let me start singing that. You know that if anybody remembers Fonzie,
But that's
it
it.
used to come on every Saturday.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna. That's one song I ain't gonna sing. Monday,
There might be days.
But that was when they was in their golden era.
It's true, yeah.
When I remember in the 70s, in the 60s, we were happy to come home from school being indoctrinated, and they was literally it was happy days for them, man.
Yeah.
Fonzie.
Yeah,
And
Fonzie.
looking in the mirror, he done that thing. I ain't gonna do it.
With his- with his-
bloody
with his
cheesy,
jacket,
cheesy, with his leather jacket,
on, black leather jacket.
He done that thing, and he looked in the mirror. I ain't gonna do it. With his thumbs up because they all the niggas are on the cotton fields.
I'm the man.
And all it was when you look back
True, brother.
in hindsight, there was a lot of symbolism in the white
In the
supremacy,
white, yeah.
and that's all Trump is the white
It's
supremacy.
good you say it, alright, because in those days we thought it was all cool in those days.
We thought it
But
was
when
cool.
we thought it's cool.
Because that was his motto as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, so continue with the
So
article.
that was when the golden era. That's what it was basically all about, you know, and making America great again, which is really another why they're trying to introduce the MOTV. It's just simple.
Yeah, it says U.S. military aircraft have started flying detained migrants out of America on the orders of Donald Trump as Mexico refused a request from his administration to allow deportation plane to land in the country.
Yeah.
It says,
So, is there more? Just
Let me
really need to
check.
make the point. It's just once you made the point that the main point is that they were started on the Latinos, the Latin tribe.
Powerful.
Now they're focusing attention because I remember the Latin tribe was saying we need help. Where's the blacks?
Where's Judah?
Yeah, where's Judah? But now, if you've seen the video, if you haven't seen it, you soon will see it. They started on the Haitians.
Oh,
Levi.
can I say something,
Go
brother?
on,
In the
brother.
spirit. Now, years back, it could have been four years ago. I always said this, that there's going to be something to do with the migrants. Something's going to come towards the migrants. Everything,
Spirit,
right?
yeah.
Now, Elder Apostle Ramlab, shout out to you, Elder Apostle Ram, for doing that lesson. You did a lesson the other day it says, it is called Jacob's trouble for a reason. Now, as Elder Pastor Aram is going into, what do you think about it? It's coming back to, at the end of the day, you see these scriptures, it's all about Jacob and Esau. That's what it's all about, right? So they're coming down on the tribes. They don't talk about any, as he said in the lesson that Elder Pastor Rama did. They always talk. They don't talk about no other tribe except the Latinos, because it's Jakes. They're all Jakes. You see. So as you said, Aria, this is the time, man. Right? This is the time where, man, I tell you something. That man is going to pull out his horns, man. You know who we're talking about?
Nero.
Mr. N-E-R-O. Nero.
Right.
Okay. And I said one thing in the spirit. One more thing before I say this. Myself and my brother Roger was coming. That's the spirit, brother. Come on, brother.
As soon as you said that,
you knew I was going to say the spirit. So what? That's the spirit working. We were coming on from the sit down, right? And we was walking up the steps, coming. We going to the train, and we saw this sign on the floor. It says Nero.
Cafe Nero.
Cafe Nero.
Come on.
All right. And we said, look. And we stopped because look at that sign, Nero. That's a sign. We was going up the steps. So it's our time to go up, and we saw the sign Nero on the step, and we were passing, and what we should have done, we should have stepped on that sign.
Come on, because the thing is, Nero will literally be a slave.
Thank you.
Under us.
Nice,
in the kingdom of Yahweh.
So whatever it is.
So us really climbing up the stairs is symbolic of Nero's end.
It's symbolic, brother.
It's only a temporary time, so we ain't got nothing to fear of this.
No. You see, and it's Elder Apostle Tahar. He said it years back. He says, watch out for this man. Watch out for this man. But we know who's that cruel Lord. Yeah.
And now they're so upset that he's in now. Even the far right, the militia, they're upset that he's in. They call him a tyrant, a tyrant. All those things that go against what they really stand for, man. Which is what they say was going to make America great again. Well, they're not happy, because really, he's supposed to be for his people.
Yes.
But just to make that point as well, because for those that don't know, Nero was the one that burned down Rome and blamed it on the Christians back then. And there's a lot of other sadistic things that he did. And our elder Apostle Tahar be talking about. He actually he had them in what do they call them, circular things, the Gracarium, the circular theatre places.
The Colosseum.
Colosseums, right? And he had them in there burning, and while he was, he's actually outside playing the violin. A lot of other sadistic things that he did, because he was a sadistic man, which we're seeing now. Why we're calling this man here Trump? We're seeing. I'll read a little bit more of the article, because it makes brings out some other
article.
And for you to see a bit more clearer too, we give it some ISO, but some of the ISO that the Most High gave us, Abba Razar, right? So let's get back to the article. Migrants in shackles led to the military plane, right? As Mexico refuses to accept deportation flight, right? They didn't want nothing to do with it. But Trump now, what did he do? U.S. military aircraft have started flying detained migrants out of America on the orders of Donald Trump, Nero, right? And here's the point. Why did he do it? It comes as the White House released images of men whose hands and ankle were shackled, right, being led to a plane, because they could have just done it undercover, or just do it like would they say, keep it in the dark, or what's the other word? Keep it secret. But this is Nero, isn't it? This is Nero. Nero be doing things outwardly for everybody to see.
That's the way it
right? Trump security. Let's jump down to the point. Right. Trump was sending a strong and clear message to the entire world. See? How really, what the message that we get? He doesn't like you. He doesn't like the tribes, right? But this is what he's saying in the article. If you legally enter the United States, which we know that the Native American Indians, Gadite and Ruba, the Gadites and the Reubenites are the people of the land. We know that. History backs that up. And what they did to them, right? When America gave them blankets. Smallpox and TB, tuberculosis. If you know anything about tuberculosis, that's one horrible thing to get. You might have had a bad cough. Anybody's had a bad cough, right? It's annoying, just a bad cough. But tuberculosis is so bad, the coughing alone can kill you, right? Because there's a certain amount of coughing that the body can do, and there's a certain amount a coffin that you can't keep up with. It's
Yeah,
like you die of your own saliva, you die of your own lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
So that's a horrible way to go.
So it's even worse than smokers cough.
Yeah.
You know, smokers if they
TB.
cough,
Whooping cough. That's another bad one again.
Can't.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
whooping cough.
they're
Nah,
short of breath.
all the physicians had to be coming on. So they gave them that in the blankets. So what is it saying here? Psalms. You don't got to get it. Psalms 22. They broke all the treaties. His mouth was smoother than smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. He broke all all the treaties that they signed, over 500, some say 400. The last I heard was 400 treaties was all broken, right? So that was really the point. He hates you people. He hates the.
That's why the scripture area says never. It says never trust thine enemy.
Yeah.
It always says it never. It didn't say sometimes, never. Because they come up, although they go crouching, all right, and they come innocent and everything like that. They call it devil for a reason.
Gotta be cautious.
You've got to be cautious, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it says there, in terms of Nero, this is Isaiah 19:4, and the Egyptians will I give over unto the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, save the Lord Yahweh, says Yahweh of hosts. And really, you know he's going to be a cruel Lord because he's warming up to showing his horns, man.
Yeah.
Especially because of the fact that he's also running multiple executive orders which relate to America, or really the government within each state being restricted with what they can do, man. So even if the people report to the government can't really intervene when certain legislation and laws are actually passed as well. So those executive orders are in preparation for the chaos that's about to happen. One of the examples is also when with AI, with how fast that's growing as well.
Yeah.
Whatever decrees that would be used during AI or with AI, or whatever use case with AI that's going to be applied to the state, the government can't intervene in that. That's one of the executive orders. The Aratazar for these, so I might do a video on it as well.
Yeah.
But I think Apostle Tahar did a video on it based on another brother as well.
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but it's that. Natazak Bangad, something like that.
Oh yeah.
I think it was recently, like even yesterday or
Yeah, the
today.
brother from I know you.
But the point is, Apostle Tahar did upload a video on multiple executive orders that are being put in place for the upcoming chaos, so that ISIL then implements that beast system. Even one where it encloses the borders of America.
Yeah.
No one can't come in and then come out. Apostle Tahar named the video 2 Edges 15 and 16 being fulfilled by
15 to 16.
Yeah.
I've heard about those laws that they're basically in the process of for him to sign, and he's gonna sign them. He hasn't yet signed them, but he's gonna sign them.
Yeah.
So these are all reasons why we continue, man, and serving the Lord without fear and trembling.
Yeah.
So these are wars that we're hearing about, the wars. Oh, don't forget what happened with California. I remember he had something to say about that. The fires, which we know the reason behind it. On the surface it's just we've got another, because it's always hot there. There's always fires taking place, but behind it he wants the 15-minute cities.
Yes.
When you get into that, run by the AI, innit? Run by AI and all these traffic lights, everything run by AI, which is just really police government cities run by the police, the technocracy, right? Which and also what I remember as well. As a matter of fact, read anybody could read it. Matthew 24. We're going to hit some of that because we're seeing these things now, and you can hold. You read Matthew 24 from around about 6. From around about 6. Matthew 24, and you can hold Amos chapters 8 from around about. So we're speaking about the prophecies that are yet to come to pass, but we're talking about the ones that are coming to pass now.
True, brother.
There's not much left.
True, brother.
Not much left,
As
man.
you said, the title,
Yeah.
Let me get it now.
Get one.
Matthew 24 verse 6. And ye shall hear wars of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet.
Just talking about the prophecies that are yet to come to pass and coming to pass. right? Wars, rumors of wars. Second Ezra's 15 and 16. We spoke about those.
He's at the door.
He's at the door, you know, rising up against nation, kingdoms against kingdom, trying to invade one another. As a matter of fact, I think we can't really, got to really bring that one out.
Yes.
Second Ezra's 15, from around about 14, read up to about 16, and Amos chapters
8 and 11.
Yeah.
This is Amos chapter 8, and starting from verse 11, it says, Amos 8 and 11, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, the Most High, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. Of course, you can expect to actually see that to happen before you start seeing the diminishment of all this food and whatnot in terms of actual famines and actual drought. Which, of course, does happen around the world. But the point
like
is,
I said that again, I was talking.
Yeah, let me read it again, then you speak on it. Right? Amos 8 and 11, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh the Most High, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh.
Right. So hold that, read that, and then we can come back and break that down.
Okay, brother Ari.
Yeah, the water.
Second Ezra's 15 and 14. Woe, which means destruction, to the world and them that dwell therein.
Right. See, why we're going to read that? We're going to read that after, because that's leading to that. You understand? These that are taking place, these are the prophecies that are going to be taking place. We're in that time now, and it's going to lead to famine of the word, man. So, yeah, carry on reading, brother.
Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another.
Yeah.
And sword in their hands.
Right. We spoke about the. As a matter of fact, carry on reading. Let me try something.
Yeah. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings and princes.
Yeah. So we spoke about Nero. Nero ended up, I ought to be talking about this. He ended up committing suicide, man. They all in his you know, if you could receive it, Nero, right? He ruled and he had a lot of the Christians persecuted in the time of Rome, but they all came against him. Even those that were on his side came against him, and he ended up going in a corner and deleting himself. It's quite similar to if you know anything about Hitler. Hitler, he became a fatal attraction. He ended up going into one of his caves and putting a bullet in his head. After reigning with an iron hand, with so much power, with so much ferocity, right? When he spoke, people just killed over, man. Wow. He had that kind of hold. If you see Michael Jackson in the concerts when people be fainting, very similar. That's what demons can do.
Wow.
All these powerful people, right? Nero. Commanders. What's the other one? The Italian guy. I forgot his name, man. The Italian Mussolini. He had that power. Fascist. He had power. People that could just they move their hand and people fall over. You know what I mean? That just demons, demon power. But yeah, a lot of them end up committing suicide, man. As a matter of fact, I might even do a video on that, talking about that. So read up to about 16, up to 16.
16.
Go there.
For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings. It's like the saying, you know, in that time, you know, it's coming, you know. We all know this, right? According to our teachers, our prophets from Great Millstone. There's going to be a time where they're not saying, all right, when they throw the baby out of the window, the water, the everything, the bath, everything.
Throw the baby out with
the
water,
the bath water, everything. There's going to be
what's happening now.
They don't care. After that, there's going to be a time when they know that everyone knows that they're the devil. They just don't care, right? For they shall see sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor prince, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Same over here with Keir Starmer, right? The president over here, or what they don't call him presidents over here, prime ministers, right? And he's got all the I actually saw it on the news. He's got all the disabled people, the paraplegics,
Yeah.
paraplegics
Yeah.
out there, outside the Houses of Commons, outside, you know, all those places, the Thames, all of them with their placards saying we don't want no more tyranny. Yeah, as a matter of fact, let me read one of these because this is we're going to read that after, but I just want to read this because it kind of makes the point.
Yeah, Salakia.
Yeah.
Even on the fact that, you know, his name means, you know, specifically care, going into darkness or being dark, you know that he's actually a dark man because he was actually in support of some kind of a legislation or some order that they want to put across in the House of Commons to allow people to voluntarily commit suicide.
Yep.
You know, so even that alone, with giving people the chance to actually take their own life, that ain't even, that's not giving reverence to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Because of course, what people don't know is that their life is really a privilege.
Assisted dying.
Assisted dying. That's the technical name for it. But they don't know that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is the one who gave them the life in the first place, and they're not grateful for that.
Yeah.
And of course, they're not grateful because
it's against the laws.
Yeah, they're not taught that in schools.
Yeah.
You know, that's why in the kingdom, people will be far much wiser than they are in Esau's kingdom.
Right.
Yeah,
people are protesting because they want to be able to go in peace, right? Die in peace. You know what I mean? Which, again, that's against the laws. But it shows really the kind of rulership that this kingdom be ruling, man. People in their own kingdom, with their own rulers, just want to go. Let me go. People paraplegics, people with no arms, no legs, in wheelchairs out there saying, you know, don't rob. There's an image of one of the prime ministers with a bag over his shoulder, running away, and they're calling him a robber with all the disability benefits.
Yeah.
They call him a robber, which is scriptural, right? Because what do? They come to kill, steal, and to destroy.
Yeah.
So that's the point on that, man. So yeah, you're holding that one, Baba Kusha. It backs up the point of seditions. So that's going to lead to what happened with as far as the truth. We be out there over across the water, Babylon, and over here, the mother of Babylon. We be out there preaching, letting people know, right? Taking off the Apostle Paul, when he was given the vision through Yahweh when he was persecuting the Christians, a light came out, and I think it's in Acts from around 9. A light came out. You know, he fell off a horse, which some say it was a chariot that knocked him off the horse, right? The light from the chariot, which that sounds about right. Basically, the point is that the scales, his eyes were open, not blind. Even though he was blind in the carnal sense, his eyes were open in the spiritual sense. You understand? To see what the purpose of, and Yahushua opened his eyes. Let me say that. So he got the eyesight of his eyes, and he saw his mission. He was converted, and he knew his mission was to go and speak to the prophets, open up the Yahshua Allah, his people, and at the same mission that we're on, man. So we're giving you this message, man. We're on that same mission that the Most High opened our eyes.
Oh yeah.
Right? Giving us the eye souls, what you people call them, you know, the objects or whatever, the spiritual objects, for us to pass that word on, to open up other people's eyes. So that's what's coming down the pipes, man. The blind people's eyes, the elect of our people.
Well, please up on that.
That you spoke about seditions, and you just made mention of
Just a little brief up on the point.
Yeah, bring it out, Baba.
Because you were talking about, you know, Paul, and I was riding on that horse, and then a bright light was on him, man. So that's really from that moment on, his whole body was full of light, man. You know, pun intended, because obviously he saw light.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm saying that, because it says in Matthew 6:22, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. So from that day on, of course, his eye was single before, but that was in darkness. You know, but as soon as you know, from that transition that day where he was blinded, you know, but he could see spiritually now, his whole body was full of light now.
Yeah.
You know, so really that was a transition from there. That's why it says here, let me get this one as well. Same thing, but Luke 11:34, the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thine eye is single, thy whole body also is full of light. But when thine eye is evil, thy body also is full of darkness. You know, so that was that transition between, you know, from Paul in his former state killing Christians to Paul, of course, going and visiting the churches, man. You know, Galatia, Corinth, and Thessalonica, and all the other ones as well. So his body went from, you know, darkness to light, you know, from that brightness. It was just
And the
funny.
scripture says also, keep your eyes single.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? On focus on the Lord, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To please the Lord, you know what I mean? If you keep your eyes single and focus on the Lord, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
It's impossible.
You know, the blinkers, isn't it?
And it's beautiful the way how we all put it the same way through the Spirit. When your eyes are blind to this world, but open to the Spirit, that's the eyesight right there.
That's
true.
Not that we are literally blind, we see what's going on, right? But we're so focused that it's like, you see, you know, what is that old saying? Here I'm blind, see and deaf, or monkey see, monkey do. These are old sayings, but you know, you can pick sense out of nonsense. Here I'm deaf, see I'm blind. Yeah, we see what's going on, but we just keep it pushing. You understand? You see what's going on, all the folly that be going on, and I know we all do. You know, from the time when if you're in university or any form of kind of educational, you see a whole heap of folly, but you don't see it. You know what I mean? That's the point. You stay on your grime, you stay on your game. As a matter of fact,
Keep the vision.
as a matter of fact, hold that precept. This one here helps the point as well. Bring out.
I got your one here, brother.
Yeah.
This is the book of 2 Timothy 3, verse 2 to 4. For men shall be lovers of their own selves.
Yeah. This is what's coming to pass now. There's not much prophecies left. We're talking about the ones that are
Heavy, brother.
in process right now, taking place right now. Yeah.
Heavyweight. For 2 Timothy 3 and 2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers,
Yep. Coming
disobedient.
against it, and when you come against the elders of this truth, our elders that taught us, and their elders that taught them, that's what he's talking about.
Disobedient to parents,
Yeah.
spiritual parents,
Yeah.
unthankful,
Right. For those that have been in this truth and have left it, stuck their two fingers up, right? For whatever the reasons is, they became offended, disenchanted. That's how the Most High be seeing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just bring out that one when we're gonna let them out.
Okay, without natural affection, truce breakers,
Yeah.
false accusers,
Haters
incontinent,
of truth. Yep.
incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Yeah. Yeah, they despise us, man. They despise this truth, man. And anything to do with the truth, they despise.
Talk about the scoffers, isn't it?
Yeah, the scoffers. Yeah, you're gonna get into that now. You're gonna read that one now.
Yeah, so 2 Peter 3 and verse 2, it says that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
Let's read it again.
Yeah.
So I'll start
What did you read?
2 Peter 3 and verse 2.
Read around. Yeah, 2 and 3. 2 and 3. 2 Peter chapters 3 and verses 2 and 3.
Oh, okay, come on. Alright, so this is 2 Peter 3 and verse 2. It says that ye may be mindful. You know, I'll start from verse 1. It says 2 Peter 3 and verse 1, the second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. It says that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts.
But we don't let that phase us. You understand? Satan desired to sift Peter. They desire the same way they desire to sift the prophets today. Right? But we ain't phased by that. You understand? Read it again, Baba Kusha, one more time, man, Baba Kusha. Put the power, it just puts the power, send that vibration out there. There's nothing you can do against this truth, but only for the truth.
So 2 Peter 3 and verse 3, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep.
And there's been many vocab Malones, right? You ain't special, you know. Come in one door and out the other. You ain't special, yeah.
Go on. It says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation.
Yeah, that's what they say. You know what I mean? It's basically just to try and take the carpet from underneath your feet.
Yeah.
But we're breaking down the prophecies now. What are coming to pass? We see what's happening. The Haitians as well. Oh, we spoke about the Latinos, Native Americans,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But the Haitians now, they actually got a video. Our brother went into a video. I think it was Yashuamba, the head of Dalis camp, Elder Yashuamba. I've had the Haitians are making a plea now, saying that he said he was in the gym, right? This is from what he said. He said he was in the gym and he'd be seeing what was going on. They actually tried to grab up a lot of the Haitians, the men and the women, they're roughing them up. Women are getting the same treatment, the ice, right? Grabbing them up and trying to put them on the same way how they treat them with the Latinos and the Native Americans, giving them the same treatment. He's saying, well, he said I was in the gym doing his thing. He said I couldn't just deny this one. Now we really got to help them. Because now they're trying to come against us now, not just the Native Americans and Latinos, the northern tribe. Now they want to focus on Judah, which is the Haitians, which is Levi, Judah and Benjamin. Right?
As well.
So once that happens, that's Judah coming together, man. Which the breaches are coming together. They've come together anyway. But the breaches are coming together. They're going to have no choice, because I remember what the brother said. He said, Judah's so laid back, you kind of got to put a little bit of pressure on him.
Charge up, man.
Once he's gonna kind of leave it, let them go, leave it. Let them get that treatment. But when you start putting pressure on Judah, if his back's against the wall, that's when the lion. As a matter of fact, matter of fact, I got find a precept on that one, Baba Kushal. Yeah. Yeah. There's that one, but I've got one here ready. Bring out the one you're holding, Baba Kushal.
Isaiah 59 verse 15. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord saw it,
Yeah, you can hold this one.
and it displeased him
4:7.
that there was no judgment.
Yeah. Read it again.
Isaiah 59 and 15.
Yeah.
Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
Yeah, we know. We stick out like a sore thumb. Brothers be getting into their testimony. I like when I hear them testimonies, because to me it's a faith booster. And you might think, I did that, I enjoyed it, but it's always good to let people, you don't know what effect it's having on people when you tell it. You know what I'm saying? Or brothers may have he enjoyed his one, and he's happy to enjoy his one, and you got a similar story. You enjoyed your one. You know what I mean? It's inspiration, man. It's iron be sharpening iron right there. Yeah, man. You don't know, like I say, you don't know what kind of domino effect your testimony may have, man, when you enjoyed.
Yeah. So Jeremiah 4:7 says the lion.
It's lucky I didn't finish breaking it down. It's lucky.
Again, Isaiah 59 and 15. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
That's the point. Yeah. So we're well aware of that, right? We stick out like I saw from the peer pressure that they want to try and weaken us with peer pressure, and don't underestimate peer pressure. All of us have been in the schools and in the workplace and stuff.
Yeah.
And we commend you, brothers, too, and sisters, as you say, the elect lady. We commend you, because there's things that you be going through, man.
Yeah.
And we know, because we go through some stuff. We're young in the truth, but we have to give credit where it's due to our elders and their elders. You understand? It's paving the way for us. Ultimately, Yahushua, man, Yahushua, which is that grand finale. We're looking forward to that. It's lucky, brother. Bring it out.
So Jeremiah 4:7. The lion is come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way.
See, right, man. That's you're talking about Yahushua, man. Which Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? The 144,000, right? They're the mighty men, man. You know what I mean? The 144,000 are his mighty men, right? Under the angels. And right now, the stage is being set for the scriptures talk about that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hit that one. Whole Joel chapters. Joel chapters.
Joel.
Joel chapters 3 and 16. You get that one after. Carry on reading on that one, Bob.
Jeremiah 4:7. The lion is come up from his thicket.
Yeah.
and the destroyer of the Gentiles
Yep.
is on his way.
Yahushua, right? Like the grand finale, right? With his 144,000 mighty men, and which is he's a man of war.
Yeah,
Yahweh
yeah.
Sabaoth, his host of armies. Yeah,
Army
carry
of
on.
hosts, yeah, come on.
And break it down, Baba Kusha.
Yeah. It says, the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. You know, that's Yahushua. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy city shall be laid waste without an inhabitant.
Yeah, he came as a lamb, didn't he?
Mhm.
Right. That's why, and that was all part of the prophecy for him to come and to be slaughtered as a lamb. You know,
Yeah.
it was the best sacrifice, the perfect sacrifice. But when he come back this time around, it's going to be continued as what? Carry on, Baba Kusha.
Yeah, yeah. It says, once more, it says, he is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy cities shall be laid waste without inhabitant. As it says, the destroyer of the Gentiles. You know, so of course these heathens, predominantly East or Edom, he will be destroyed.
He's the
Utterly.
destroyer. Yeah.
Of course, Joel 3, which you're about to get.
Yeah.
You know, is really talks about the valley of Jehoshaphat. And obviously Joel 2 about the nuclear missiles.
All right, we're going to read that. We stay on that one, Baba Kusha. Brother's got so much
Go on,
zeal.
go on,
Yeah,
go on.
yeah, yeah. Go on, brother. Go on, brother.
So continue on. It says, and thy city shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. For this, gird you with sackcloth,
Yep.
lament and howl.
Yep, that's what we're doing, right? We're doing that, and yeah, and what's happening with this ICE, right? And the what they're calling this refugees, and you know, sending out all the refugees, sending them out to Mexico, sending them back to Haiti,
Yeah.
right? It's all for us to get into that. Where them man there, right? Because they're walking in their pride. Put on the sackcloth now. And I like the point one of the elders made. He said, this is the reason for us to come together and pray hard and recognize that the power that we got.
Oh, yeah,
Scriptures,
go on,
the
go on.
scriptures just tell us that. Say,
Yeah,
calm.
because I thought of
Calm.
another
All right,
piece.
bring it out, Baba Kusha.
Yes,
Then we'll get back to that one.
yes, a lot. This is Hosea 5 and verse. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a reason for us to come together, and the strength is in the spirit of the Lord, man, and in the praying to the Lord. If all of us came together, you know, even years ago, and went and faced the right and prayed, Yahushua would have come back. But now's the time, and this is what he wants now. This is what's happening now.
So this is Hosea 5 and 15 on your point. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge
There you
their
go.
offense
There you go.
and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. So of course the Most High is putting that pressure upon the tribes, man. Of course he started out with the northern tribes right now, you know, the deportations, and of course eventually southern tribe won't be getting that taste as well. Well, southern tribe already starting to get that taste.
Yeah.
Of course beginning with Levi, man, you know, the Haitians.
Yeah, because in the playground, all right, you might say your little brother might be rude, and he might be cheeky in the house, but if you go in school and he's in the same school as you, and anybody picks on him, you know, you're gonna get mad, man. Doesn't matter how cheeky he may be. And the northern tribe, once there was a breach, you know, northern and the southern tribe, there was a breach among them. But now, what do they say? It's a saying, blood is thicker than water. There's no way, I don't care how much your younger brother vex you, there's no outsider gonna come in and grab up any one of your family, and you're gonna let them have their way with any one of your family. So this is why Judah now is waking up.
Yeah.
Right? We spoke about that lion, which Yehoshua is the lion, but also Judah in Genesis 49 is described as a lion who shall arouse him, and he's gonna drink the blood of the slain. Right? When he rise up, man, you know, that's why he's Yehoshua is the head of the Judah tribe of Judah. He's the ultimate lion. And then you got the 144,000. So yeah, you read that one.
Jeremiah 4 and 8.
Now read that one again. What you just read, Baba Kusha. I like to put emphasis on some of these. It puts power. It's like if you got a glove and you and you take out a little bit of the glove, you know, and you hit that, you punch that thing. You know, repetition, man. Let me say it right. Repetition is the father of learning. So we're going to continue to keep on hammering these scriptures because it's putting the vibration out there.
Right, so this is Hosea 5 and verse 15. It says here, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense.
Right. Our Father, our Father, okay, we was rude, we was cheeky, we went off, and he got, he kind of turned his back, but only, like I say, you ain't gonna let no one mess about with your family for, they further the affliction.
Yeah.
So now he's turning his attention, man. With in some of these movies, Avengers, Thanos is coming, right? And that was someone that didn't want to be. They don't want to be messing around with the top. What they call a villain, a super villain. Which he would be a super villain if he was in one of your movies. Yahweh Yahushua, because he's a king of terrors, but he's not a super villain.
Yeah.
He's a savior.
Yeah, actually he was. Yeah.
To them, he's a super villain because he brings terror to the nations. You understand? So when they say all these super villains, and when brothers who get into all of that, they understand the truth of the matter, right? Because they make everything that is woe unto them that make darkness light, and darkness for light, and light for darkness.
Yeah, because so look, even on that point as well, what Thanos did, he was simply executing judgment, man. Right. In the first movie, Infinity War, he wiped out half the population of the Earth. That's just sending spirits to the spirit realm.
Yeah.
That's just spirits of vengeance. You can liken that onto.
Yep.
The second one as well, there was a big war, there was a big battle. You can liken that as onto in the valley of Yehoshaphat, when the chariots come, when Yahushua comes, all the nations are then going to verse against, are going to try to fight against Yahushua and the chariots, but they will fail.
Yep.
So what they show in the movies, even though the villain may be perceived as bad, is actually the good guy for certain times in the movies, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me continue. So Hosea 5:15, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. So of course, as it says, in their affliction, which is when the pain and the suffering of which the northern tribe, the southern tribe are going to go through. When a person goes through pain and suffering, that's when they start to pray. That's when they get humble. Which means in that state of humility, they'll then seek Yahweh and pray, man.
Yep.
And that's when you go and start seeing all these scoffers. Well, not all of them, but certain scoffers actually start to reason now and say, oh, so the prophets were actually saying the truth this whole time?
Yep.
They're going to realize it, and then they're going to shut their mouth. That's why certain of them are in that silent mode right now.
Yeah, all the scoffers, yeah. And then you got the heathens, the destroyers coming to delete a lot of you heathens. Apart from the the elite among them, right? Because we're gonna need you, right? Because we've got a lot of frustration to let off. It's gonna be therapeutic. Our elders, our elders and our big brothers too. They're gonna have some a nice how do I say this, man? They're gonna have some nice words exchanges. Let me say it like that, right? But we ain't gonna do disclaimer. It's when Yahushua come back. We ain't gonna do nothing. The scriptures. We're waiting upon the Lord. Yeah. So this is a spiritual battle, as you say. This is a spiritual battle. So you finish that one. Go back to Jeremiah, Baba Hushar.
So this is Jeremiah 4.
Read from 8.
Yeah. Jeremiah 4 and 8. For this, gird you with sackcloth and lament and howl, for the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh.
Yeah, and we're putting on these sackcloths. This is what we're wearing now. We're walking in humility, and it's going to be a fearful time, because the big brother, and this is that type of big brother. If you mess with him in the school, that's the type of big brother you don't really want him coming to the playground, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That type of big brother. I'm just saying it like that so that you maybe can understand. That's the big brother that you kind of don't want that younger brother to call him, because he might come into the playground. We might be very, very upset. And he's that big. He's just that big. Say no more. Carry on.
Yeah. All the little children stay silent as well when you're around. Everyone humbles down. So look, I've
seen some things in I'm not going to say what, but I've seen some things in school playgrounds, and I've seen teachers get effed up in school. In school. I'm going to say this one. I'm going to say this one. All right. There was this Irish. He looked like a white boy. He was, as a matter of fact, he looked like he can pass for kind of like a light skin. Let me say.
Okay.
And he was got roughed up by the teacher. I could name his name, but he was going bald. He was going grey. He wasn't a very happy man. Who knows why? But maybe he just didn't like black people. But he roughed up. He went a bit too far on one of the pupils, man. And the mother, when I know now she was definitely Irish, and he was probably Irish too, the son. He came. He thought he could just talk to the woman and calm her down. The woman just took off her shoe, right? Took off her shoe, and she got the pointed heel and started licking him up in his head, on his spamming. And this guy, everybody, all the class was happy when that happened, because he used to do some things to the pupils, man. You understand? He had some issues, you know. And when I think back, he reminds me of the teacher. We had some nicknames for him, like Hitler and stuff. But you don't want, just to get back to the point, right? There's things that has happened in some schools over here in England, because sometimes the bullies get a bit carried away. But you don't want him to call, right, the big brother. That's the type of big brother because that big brother, you can't calm him down. Yahushua ain't gonna be able to calm him down with words. We didn't meet. No, man. Let the scriptures talk, Baba Kushaf.
Yeah, it says Jeremiah 4:8, for this gird you with sackcloth,
right,
laments and howl for the fierce anger.
And even the young brother's not going to be able to calm him down once the brother that got bullied, he ain't going to be able to say, don't stop. You understand?
Yeah.
Us, we ain't going to be able to hold him back, Yahushua,
no way.
for what he did to me, to you, to the tribes. We ain't going to be able to calm him down, because it's going to be on and popping. It's been determined in his heart, Isaiah 64. We might even bring that out to end it off, because that's the ultimate prophecy. We might bring that out to end it off. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we can hold that on board. Isaiah 64, and you're holding Joel, as well. We're going to end off with them precepts there.
Right.
Yeah, Baba Kushaf. If you got any precepts, you can bring that as well.
Jeremiah 4:9. And it shall come, Jeremiah 4:8, for this gird you with sackcloth, lament and howl, for the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh is not turned back from us.
See?
It says, and it shall come to pass at that day, said the Lord Yahweh, that the heart of the king shall perish, and the heart of the princess.
Nero is just a smile fry. You ain't nothing to worry about, man. If you going to the scripture talk about, he's stout, innit? He's stouter than but the scriptures in Daniel chapters 4:17, the king's heart is in the hands of them. The king's heart, as a matter of fact, listen, I don't want to butcher it. Carry on reading that, I'm going to find it.
It says, and the heart of the princes and the priests shall be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder.
Read that bit again, Baba Kusha, about you can't turn you ain't going to be able to turn him, calm him down. Baba Kusha. Loosely paraphrased.
Verse 8, Verse 8 it says, Jeremiah 4:8, for this gird you with sackcloth, lament and howl for the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, because Yahushua is the one who's going to be, in place to execute his anger.
Yeah, he ain't no lamb this time. Yep.
It says, it is not turned back from us, and it shall come to pass at that day, said the Lord Yahweh, that the heart of the king shall perish.
Nero and all the Keir Starmer, and like I say, disclaimer, it's Yahushua going to do it, not us.
So we can even get a part
the king. That's why it's called the Most High. That's the Most High. But then you got the King of Kings, which is Yahushua, man. King of all these these politicians and kings, because they're calling Nero. That's why they're protesting and saying we don't want no king as well, because that's in the spirit, because sedition. But when they was protesting about the deportation and all that, the tribes, they were saying we don't want no king. In other words, we don't want no more dictatorship. They had that on their placards, which is spiritual, because he is the king coming back, Nero coming back. You see?
It says that the heart of the king,
carry on.
That the heart of the king shall perish. So we might see a part 2. Nero obviously offed himself. So there might be a part 2 in this final lifetime here, before we transition into the kingdom of Yahushua. It says, and the heart of the princes and the priests shall be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder.
Woo, see, because we've done our job. There's nothing more for us to do. You know what I mean? And we ain't going to say, because brothers, I've heard it said as well, Yahshua Allah, the people, the Most High's people, we're kind of compassionate. And even though we know he has done a whole heap of wickedness to us, our forefathers, and we might see them and they might be down and out. And we have to be careful. We can't just be giving any Tom, Dick and Harry money. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's been said, brothers, we're compassionate. and we may feel an urge to. I've seen someone get lick off a bike, right? This was a couple of years ago, an Edomite woman. If she was a Jake, she was a Jake, but she looked like an Edomite. And you feel something when you actually hear someone when you hear someone screaming out, you know what I mean?
Pain.
But the Most High did that, man. Whether it was a Jake or not, Most High made that. That was determined in the spirit of the Lord. That was a judgment of the Lord. So that compassion, if we say we're just gonna be one. We're gonna be saying, boy. We're gonna be saying, man, don't miss. You know what I mean? We're gonna say, boy, there's nothing we can't be. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking a little bit Salakia, but in the scriptures in Ezekiel chapters 4, right, 9 and 4, when it says that he goes through the temple and he destroys all the wicked, the judgments where he will bring forth. He says that feel no compassion. In other words, switch off your, because it's a judgment of the Lord.
Yeah.
Switch it off. When we see what's going to happen to the scoffers, when we see what happens to Vocab Malone, you understand? We ain't going to say, oh, no, leave him. We're going to. Some man might feel something. You understand what I'm saying? When you start to see how messed up people going to be, arms hanging off, legs hanging off, but there's nothing we're going to be able to do. The Most High going to put a certain spirit on us, and that's needed.
Cold spirit.
That's needed, man. Yeah, say what you got to say, bro.
Yeah, man. You know, the Most High is going to put that cold spirit to actually stomach all the death.
But then again,
so
like to cut you. When they say the Lord's going to lift up a standard, what do you think that is?
That's
all that is
a whole manner of
whole
ways.
manner altogether.
Spiritual power, strength of the
Don't
mind.
forget when you say.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, spiritual power, strength of the mind. That standard is going to be great. Angel intervention, which is obviously Yahweh Shimon intervening on our behalf. So all of that we know in the spirit, man. Because I remember Captain was also making a video quite recently. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I think it was today. You know, based on you know, we gotta be in that joyous spirit, man. That spirit of expectation. Because of course we've read it within the scriptures what would happen, and we have to fully. Again, the highest level of faith is to know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Despite anything else that's shown, any other evidence and doubts, you still know it's gonna happen.
Yep.
You know, just like the way you know the sun's gonna come in again, which is through the power of Yahweh Shimon Shai, you know the prophecy is gonna come to pass.
As you said
know
that,
spiritual power.
I just said that the sun's peeping through right now.
Yeah, through the spirit of Yahweh Shimon Shai. So we know in faith that we're gonna be cool and protected in that time.
Yeah.
You know,
And on
let the heathens fear.
Can't. Yeah, and no matter what dire situations look like, no matter how, you know, to back up your point, how dire it may look, it's going to turn around in our favor too.
That's what the scripture says, you know, that the righteous should scarcely be saved. That's what it is, no matter how it seems. Right? That break. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bring out that precept and end with what you got. There were Isaiah 62 and then whatever ones you got. And then you close out as well.
Isaiah 54, if you want this one earlier, 54 verse 4. Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be thou confounded. For thou shalt not be put to shame, for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shalt thou remember the reproach of the widowwood anymore. That's why, you know, the scripture says, you know, fear not thou worm Jacob. That's what it boils down to, you know, fear not. And we go back to the faith. Right? Without faith, it's what? Impossible to please the Lord. All right? And if I'm paraphrasing, it's actually a sin when we fear.
Yeah, Captain mentioned.
Yeah, there's a scripture.
Lack of faith. So
lack of faith. Right?
Yeah.
So, fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed. Right? And the other scriptures, you know, thou shalt be confounded, word without end. Confounded, word without end.
Yeah, Jacob shall not be confounded, word without end.
Yeah. So this is all about, you know, listen, man. You see, when the Lord says, you know, if you fight for me, I will also fight for you. Yeah. And you can't get, as the brother Arya said a while ago, that is the biggest thing when you have your big brother defending you, because we hate fucking bullies. Right? A bully's going to be put down, man. Yeah? Whoever's bullying people, you're going to be put down. So that's why it says, that's why the Lord, you know, the Lord is a righteous man. You see what I'm saying? And Esau, you're doing, I tell you something, as you said before,
and that's the bully.
They for the affliction. Right? And these other nations to do it, they got to handle it too. Alright? So we're not going to be ashamed. Right? Lord willing, we have the elect. That's why we say hopefully elect. We are not going to be ashamed. Yeah? So that's all we have to say, basically.
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. All right, then you can hold
What you want?
Isaiah 62.
Isaiah 60.
There's a couple more. We're gonna start closing down, winding down.
So just on that point, on the harsh point on us not being fearful in these times, which really, to negate fear,
Go to the top.
your faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua has to increase. So the higher your faith is, the higher your faith is, the higher your confidence, which confidence means with faith, is in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua, the less fear you have of Esau, Edom, and the things of this world. That's when you'll be calm in the spirit, because your faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua negates any other worries of this world. So it says that even this precept supports that. It says Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17 and verse 12. It says here, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offereth. So it says fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors.
Yeah.
Succors means that the help, the aid, which reason offereth. And we reason with the scriptures. When we reason with the scriptures, that increases our faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. But when demons try to, of course, enter into your mind, that's when they try and increase fear. Fear is a very, very strong tool that demons use in order to decrease your faith. That's why it says fear is nothing else but the betraying. So that it goes against the help that reason offereth. That's what that means there. Which means we got to do the things of which will decrease our fear of the world and of Esau Edom, and increase our faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua. That's why it says in verse 13, and the expectation from within being less counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment, which means all that fearful worrying and the thoughts that enter into your head is actually far, what happens in reality is far less than actually what you imagine in your mind.
Right.
You fear the things because you just keep thinking about what if that happens, what if this happens. But the thing that actually happens is far less, man. It's not as bad as it actually, as you imagined it.
Yeah.
That's what verse 13 means right there, man. So really, what the point is that we got to increase our faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshua to decrease our fear of Esau Edom. And that's when you're going to be calm in the spirit, man. Despite Esau saying, all right, it's time to die. Whether you're going to be in the courtrooms. Nevertheless, man, we're good because we're going to meet Yahweh Shai, and we know this because we've been working and we've endured to the end.
Yep.
Even if it means death and we actually die, technically you've endured to the end because you did it until death. So that's it.
On that subject of fear, now you've led me into potentially next week, or a video, or next week talking about fear. Another idea is because that reminded me of Yahweh Shai when he after he got baptized, he was led up into the spirit, in the spirit, and he went to, he fasted, and Satan entered, and was trying to intimidate him, and he said, "Get behind me, Satan! It is written, man must not." He always used the scriptures. So how do you deal with fear? Use the scriptures, the name. Like I say, this could lead to next week, Lord willing, next week or whenever we link up again, and we could talk about the our tools, what we have to combat fear. But that's a good point. Gave me a good idea. And what Yahweh Shai did, the example Yahweh Shai did, he always said, "Get behind me, Satan, man." You know what I mean? Agayeh Gashatar Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. I rebuke Satan. Right? Because you can use that in the Hebrew. You can use just saying, "Get behind me, Satan." Right? Which when Satan be entering, the scriptures be entering back, right? Entering into your head too. In your mind, to combat all the demons, which is demons bring fear, as you say. So that could lead us into the next, lead us into next week nicely. But we're going to end with Joel 3 potentially, and Isaiah 63. But I think that's a nice one to end on, actually.
Joel 3.
We could bring this over to next week. It's a nice one to end on.
So this is Joel chapter 3 and 16. The Lord Yahweh shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens.
That goes back into Yahweh Shai. Don't come as a lamb this time. That big brother that you don't want to come in, step in the room, because that's that big brother that takes up all of the room. That's the big brother that takes up all of the room. You kind of want him to stay out. You know what I mean? Go on, carry on.
But the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai will be the hope of his people
Alright.
and the strength of the children of Israel.
Yeah, his people, his children, or otherwise described as his woman. You don't want to mess about with a man's woman, man. We heard about, you know, the man and his woman.
Yeah.
And where his woman is.
Oh,
That's
heavy,
what-
heavy, heavy.
You know, like I say, ideas for Lord willing next week, you know, the ideas be flowing, man. So we're going to end on that note, man. Abu Ratazai was edifying to all the sincere African out there, the Afwakim and the Wafbani. We're going to close up the show.
Yeah, so, you know, as always, Kal Halal Imla,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kodash. And once more, double honest to the greatness and apostles. Yeah, Shalom, man.
Shalom, much love to all. Shalom.